in the country of illicit drugs and substances. I must take this opportunity to recognize your tenure in public service has been most fulfilling. You deserve to be congratulated for it. And I remember when you said, when you were in EFCC, that politicians need to be tested by psychiatrists. We're on the same sheet of music in EFCC, in NDLEA now, when we said you cannot entrust public resources and care of millions of Nigerians to people whose heads are not straight through use of drugs, and for which reason we have stated, and we still stand on it, that in addition to students in tertiary institutions, workers, security agencies, labor like transport workers, and so on and so forth, politicians ought to be tested for drugs. They have to turn negative by the various screening committees established in political parties that will return those who are qualified. Let it be one of the steps that will qualify you. And already the Kano state government is doing exactly that. You can't run in Kano state for office, whether it's councillorship or house, without first doing a drug test. Very important. It is for this reason, to curb the use of drugs, that we have moved forward to encourage even in weddings, the same way that now couples have to demonstrate HIV negativity and so on, you must challenge the spouse to prove that he is not, or he or she does not use drugs. Because if you put the question before any Nigerian, do you want your daughter to marry a drug addict, or your son to marry a lady who is a drug addict? You say no, and it's in our hands. We can easily deal with it by putting this as one of the requirements at weddings, which will definitely impact on the drug demand reduction, especially when you know that it will take up to 3 months for us to determine whether or not you are a user after the test. So anyone that thinks, okay, I'm going to get married next week, let me stop taking drugs today, has not solved the problem, because we will find out still. I'd like to commend Dr. Waziri for setting up WICO. Clearly, there's life after retirement from public service. People after retirement must not fold their blankets and go to sleep for the rest of their lives. There's so much impact that can be created in national service. The country is facing a drug scourge. Families, youths, communities, cities and towns are being daily besieged by drug users and addicts. And that was what has propelled our prevalence to 3 times the global average. In addition, the money and funds sourced from the sale of drugs fund some of the criminal activities in the country. On top of that, the criminals themselves use the drugs to gain confidence, tirelessness, to be more ferocious and dastardly in their activities. As we have often repeated, you go out to kidnap 200 or 300 children from a school, you have to be crazy to embark on such a mission. And that craziness comes out of the use of drugs, because the mind is altered by those substances. The President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency General Muhammadu Buhari, is very committed and has the political will and demonstrated it to rid Nigeria of drugs and illicit substances. And it is this mandate that we are implementing in the NDLEA. And I wish to take the same opportunity to say that the mandate goes out to all Nigerians to put all hands on deck to face this challenge. And it is from this background that we welcome WICO's interest, participation, and involvement in the fight against drug abuse in Nigeria.